Now 19 minutes past 7.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Bond does Deutschland. It's Kirsty Bond in Germany.
Kirsty Bond, indeed, joining us from Germany today. Hello to you, Kirsty Bond.
Hello, how are you?
Very, very well. Nice to see you once again. You've just come back from another wee holiday in Europe.
That's right. I had a little weekend excursion to Sardinia. Managed to fly out despite the volcanic ash lingering around, and touched down on the beautiful Italian island and had a lovely time basking in the sunshine and getting burnt, actually, too.
Oh, very, very jealous. It's starting to get a bit chilly on this side of the world. But that is the nature of seasons and whatnot, and that's the way that the Earth spins around the sun. And we have just gone into May. May the 1st here in New Zealand was actually marked with protests, anti-mining protests in Auckland. But there's certainly a much stronger tradition of protesting on May the 1st, May Day, in other parts of the world. What happens in Germany, Kirsty?
That's right. So May Day is traditionally like our version of Labour Day. But although Labour Day is supposed to be marked with union protests and political parties having their sorts of demonstrations, it seems to be that the ones that are more violent, the ones that turn into riots, get all the attention over here. And that's been the case for a couple of decades now, especially with anti-fascists versus neo-Nazis. And in 1987, there was actually quite a major riot which happened in Berlin, and it was sparked when the police actually raided some extreme radical leftists and turned into 12 hours of back and forth fighting until the police finally got it under control. And so ever since that event, the police have turned out in force and really tried to have a really strong presence, and of course that tends to fuel.
I guess imagine it would only just create some more tension.
Exactly. And then in more recent years, the extreme rights have been getting in on the act as well and claiming 1st of May as their demonstration day too. So then you get the extremes on either side of the political spectrum and the police in the middle, so it's not really a pretty situation.
Yeah.
This year the protests didn't really turn too violent. There were a few police injured, but the year before, in 2009, there was about 500 police injured. So 7,000 riot police were out in force on the weekend just trying to keep things under control. And in Berlin, the neo-Nazi groups organized an official march through Berlin, and they had planned to embark on this 6-kilometer stretch, and they'd gone through the official channels and gotten permission. But a group of 10,000 people turned up in order to try and stop their march from taking place, and basically just sat on the parade route so that the police couldn't, well, they just had to give up, basically, trying to move them and turn the neo-Nazis around and send them on their way.
It's interesting. It's extraordinary that the neo-Nazis actually get official permission and that they actually are allowed to march.
Well, it's everybody's right to hold a demonstration, and obviously, like, outright neo-Nazi official groups are banned here, and ever since World War II, they've had, like, major strict rules on anything to do with Nazism. So swastikas are obviously banned and everything, and a lot of neo-Nazi groups have actually been banned, but people can get around things, can't they, by pretending to be something that they're not.
Exactly. So does word of these kinds of riots and marches, does that get out to neighbouring countries? Do people come and check this stuff out?
Well, yeah, they do, and there's this new phenomenon, well, I don't know how new it is, but it's new to me, called riot tourism. So I guess it's if you're wanting to get in on some aggro and turn up at protests, then that's some people's form of a holiday. And so there were people that turned up from other countries, and this isn't a new phenomenon. So from Spain and Italy and the Czech Republic, some people who are identifying with this neo-Nazi ideology had come to check it out, as well as people from the other side, from the radical leftist side. But an artist group actually added a new dimension to the protests, which was controversially seen as maybe fueling this riot tourism, and they offered headsets to anyone who wanted to either spectate or partake, and basically people could tune into like live broadcasts of different things that were like a soundtrack to what was going on. So they could listen to a philosopher giving a speech, or two political commentators who were actually marching in the demonstration, or archive audio from past riot events, or otherwise music that was apparently created to be like a soundtrack to the riots.
That's really cool. It's kind of like the silent disco that you have at the big day out, where people are got the headphones on.
Yeah, an interesting take on it. So this artist group see it as like a mass performance, a political performance, basically, and they say that they're not really trying to fuel riot tourism. They're just trying to make people take an educated look at why they're actually doing it, because a lot of people obviously just get in on the act and want to be a part of something that's full of energy, and so they want people to actually question what their motives are.
Yeah. Well, absolutely fascinating. Kirsty Bond talking about the May Day protests. Kirsty, we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, see you then.